Hello and good morning, everybody. Sila here from Kardec, UK. I hope everybody's doing well. Um, Today we're gonna start again all week. I'm sorry, we have company today. He has to say hello. Yes, okay. And we're just gonna start as always we do with a prayer. And today we're gonna talk about the end of chapter 9, which is obedience and resignation, and also a little bit of anger. So we're gonna touch this subject, but right now let's start with the prayer. I have to remind you to get your little glass of water because when we do prayer, just reading, we attract all the good energies or even good spirits, and they might fluidify our water for us. They might put fluids on, of course, everything very good for us. And we can drink this water, we can give to our pets, or we can use for plants, whatever you wish. It's just a little bit of a, like when you go to church and they put something on the oil or they put something, just good energy. Anyway, shall we start? Oopsie, I got the wrong one. I haven't memorized the prayers yet, believe me or not. So that's why I have my papers here, and I don't have here today. So we're just gonna improvise. Yeah, I'm sorry. I started a little bit earlier today. I didn't have time to prepare. Yes, I have a very hard time memorizing things, but I'm very good in improvising. So uh, therefore, I don't memorize prayers, which is very annoying. But yeah, they're not here. Well, let's just do our thing. We know we don't have to say prayers exactly as they are. What matters is our thoughts. So let's close our eyes. We're gonna imagine some light come from the top and surround ourselves and the place where we're in. And let's go ask Jesus at this moment to give us guidance and understand of these words we're going to read, to help us understand each other, understand life, and be more patient towards others, towards ourselves, forgive and forget ourselves and others, those that had made bad towards us, the ones we have caused harm, or the ones that cause harm toward us. No matter if it was going or coming, this feeling, may God give us the light to forgive, forget, and in fact, beyond that, reciprocate with love, compassion. We shall receive the strength to do that, to do the pure charity from our hearts, to make ourselves better, to grow and to understand. Amen. All right, so let's start with this reading. Obedience and resignation. The doctrine of Jesus constantly teaches obedience and resignation, two virtues which are the companions of mildness and activity, although man wrongly confuses them with denial of sentiment and free will. Obedience is a consent of reason. Resignation is the consent of the heart. Both are active forces since they carry the burden which has fallen upon them due to foolish revolt. The coward cannot be resigned, and more than the prideful and selfish can be obedient. Jesus was very Jesus was the very incarnation of these virtues, which were despised by material antiquity. He came to earth at the time when Roman society was perishing in the fallings of corruption. He came so that, even in the bosom of depressed humanity, the triumph of sacrifice and his renouncement of sensuality would shine forth. Thus, each epoch is marked with the stamp of virtue and vice, which is has either to save or to lose. The virtue of these generations is intellectuality. The vice is moral indifference. We merely, sorry, we merely use the words activity because a genius may suddenly rise up and discover for him or herself the horizons which will be seen by the multitude only at a later date, whereas activity denotes the reunion of endeavors of everyone in order to reach a somewhat less brilliant conclusion, but one which will confirm the intellectual elevation of an epoch. Submit yourself then to the impulsion we have come to give your spirits. Obey the great law of progress, which is the promise of your generation. Vow to the lazy ones, vow to all those not open to understanding. Woe unto them, because we, who are the guides of humanity on march, shall apply the whip and subdue the rebellion by means of the double action of brake and spur. All prideful resistance will have to be overcome sooner or later. However, blessed be all those who are mind, for they will lend yielding ears to the teachings. So this was from Lazarus in 1863. Anger. Pride induces you to judge yourselves to be more than you are and to repel any comparison which might discredit you. You consider yourself to be so much higher than your fellow man or woman, be in the spirit, in social position, or even in personal advantage, that the least parallel irritates and annoys you. What happens then? You give way to anger. Investigate the origin of these outbursts of passing dimension which make you resemble a savage by losing your self possessions and reason. And each you do, then you will almost always be faced with hurt pride. Perchance it is no pride which has been hurt by a contradiction which makes you repel justifiable observations and angrily reject the wisest counsel. Even impatience originates from the contraries, and often childish ones at that, come from the importance which each individual gives to their own personality, before which has been given to understand that everyone should bow down. In their frenzy, wrathful people hurl themselves at everything from their own savage nature of lifeless objects, breaking them because they do not obey. Oh, if they could but see themselves at this moment, looking on in cold blood, either they would be afraid of themselves, or they would think themselves simply ridiculous. Imagine then the impression made on others, even if it is merely out of respect for oneself. It behoves one to make an effort to overcome this inclination which only makes one into pitiable object. We reflect that anger is not always helps. In fact, it modifies our health, even putting our life at risk. Then we would recognize that we are nothing more than our own victims. But above all, that is yet another consideration which should restrain us, that of the unhappiness this kind of behavior brings to all those around us. If we have a heart, would not this anger be motivated for remorse that have for having caused those we love to suffer? What a terrible moral weight upon us if in a excess of fury we were to practice some act which we would deplore for the rest of our lives. To summarize, anger does not exclude certain qualities of the heart, but stops us from doing any good and may cause us to practice great evil. Mankind is to make the necessary efforts in order to dominate this trait. Moreover, for those who are spiritists, this is an instigation to do this for yet another motive, that of anger being against charity and Christian humility. Humility. So this was by a protected spirit in Bordeaux, 1863. Okay, I have one more message here, and then I'll talk about a little. Because the false idea that it's not possible for a person to reform their own nature, they judge themselves except from even trying to correct their defects. This applies effectively uh, to of those defects in which the person willingly take pleasure, of those which would take a great deal of perseverance to eradicate. This is why, for example, an individual who is prone to anger almost always finds excuses for this temperament. Instead of confessing the self's guilt, they accuse the organism, and it is this manner accuse God for their faults. This is yet one more of the consequences of the pride to be found in the midst of the imperfections. Undoubtedly, there are temperaments which lend themselves more readily than others to violent acts. Just as there are muscles which are more flexible than others, so lend themselves better in acts of strength. However, do not believe it is here that this first cause lies, but persuade yourself that a pacific spirit, even when the sickly blood, will always be pacific, just as much as the violent spirit, even when occupying a lymphatic body, will not be more mild, only that the violence will take on another aspect. In this case, the anger would be more concentrated, just as it is in the first case, the anger would be more expensive. Therefore, it is not the body which gives the anger to those who are not already possess it. In the same manner, neither does it cause other vices. All virtues and vices are inherent of the spirit. If this were not the case, where would be the merit of responsibility? The person who is bodily deformed can do nothing to remedy this situation because the spirit takes up no part in it. But what can be modified is the actual spirit when it wants to, by means of strong desire. Does not experience shows us up to what point the power of desire can take us when to look the truly miraculous transformations happening all around us every day. Then let us convince ourselves that man only remains bound by vices because he so desire. Those who really wishes to liberate themselves can always achieve the end. It were not so, then the law of progress would not be able to exist. This was by Hahnemann in Paris, 1863. I never see this name before. Okay, guys, so sorry about the bad reading. That's me with my English. Um, let's go back a little bit. So, patience. When we talk about patience, there is a phrase here that say that is to forgive all those placed in your pathway by God to act instruments of your suffering and rest your and test your patience. So what it means is like, as he say in the end of the chapter, um, our spirit comes. Doesn't matter what body or what situation we are or what it is. The impatient resides with us because we think we are more advanced or we think faster or we are better days or that the others. Therefore, we don't have patience to hear, listen, uh, let them be a part of what we're doing. Such as for me, my son is really, I lose every morning because I'm telling him to do something and he doesn't just do. I have to tell him hundreds of times every day the same thing, being his routine. So it's really hard to keep the patience in these times. But what it is a test. Um, God put my son in my path, in my life, because there is something I need to resolve with him. And being part of that is having patience. I do believe there is a fine line in this case, in particular case, between what is educate my son and make him learn the things he has to do, and what it is me losing with him. So the part of me losing in the morning, I don't want to say the word, but the part of me losing my patience with him in the morning or in the time of the day is the part I have to fix. I don't need to scream at him for him to learn he has to do all those things in the morning. However, I do. And that's the part that's wrong. So the act of educating him and teaching him to do those things is still the same. The way I deliver that is what I have to improve. I'm using me as example because by far I'm not perfect. It's not because I'm reading this to you that I do all that. No, I'm trying hard, as same as everybody else. And when we come to obedience and resignation, again, the virtues of this generation is the intellectuality. The vice is the moral indifference. So what it is, imagining back in the day, long time ago, when you could not do much of a thinking, you lived this life, especially for women. We live this life that we're born, we learn how to take care of the house, we learn how to do all those things really good, and then we marry and we have to have children. There's not much space for we go out there and say, no, look, just let's think about nowadays, compared to nowadays, women work, women have opinions, women write books, women are Nobel Prizes list. Women do a lot. I'm not saying that just about women. I'm saying about our generation is very different than back in the day. So we have all this intellect. We have all this smartness about things. We know how things work. We know science. We know everything. We're every day is new discoveries. So we have this intellect. However, what's the problem? Or moral. I mean, let's face, we have all these wars happening. We have all this technology. We could feed nations. We have the technology of follow people around. Like why there is problems with immigration and people immigrate from one country to another when we should be sharing the planet, not be like limiting. We have we have all these great things and in the world, all this new science, technology, curing diseases, and yet we still have wars, we still have poverty, we still people dying with diseases that are controllable. We're still having so much trouble. Why we have this? Because we close our eyes, because the way we live society, we're more worried about providing our homes with what we need, which is not wrong. We need to provide for our families, but we are not looking over our shoulders and seeing the other people there that need our help. And I'm guilty of this too. I'm saying that, but I'm guilty. So we are just thinking about us. Where's our morals? Where, how can we pass by somebody need and just say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to help this person because I need to help my family first. Well, we are all family, aren't we? This whole planet is our family, is our neighbors. So yeah, I understand prioritizing, but how about we're not prioritizing? It gets to the point that we are denying because we're say, let's say we have, I don't want to use money in this case, but let's say we have an hour break for lunch. And then we thought about, oh, you know what? I will quickly go to the supermarket and I will buy a packed lunch and I will take to my son in school or to my husband at his job. And that's what we're going to do. A wonderful act, right? Okay, you think about others, even though they're your family. And then on your way to the grocery shop or the supermarket, you pass by and there is somebody begging for food. And you look at it and you say, oh, I could go and get a little food, a little sandwich for my husband. And I could get a second one and quickly bring back to this person and be on my way. But I might be late. Oh no, leave it. I'm going to be late. And that's what we do in society today. We think it's not a big problem, but it is a big problem. We need to take our little time or little money, and it's not just prioritize this. All 100% of this goes to my family. My family comes first. We need to go. Wait a minute. I have enough to share or to split, even if it's 30% for this person, the rest for my family. You know what I mean? Like, we are too quick into think that I will do what I have to do, and what is on the sidelines will find a way, or somebody else will do. Not a big problem. It is big. It is big. Those are the opportunities we should not let pass. And again, I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of getting involved in the daily day and just go, 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 go. Like the other day, my neighbor has been spent some time in hospital, and he called me and say, or he messaged me and say, Sila, can I ask for a favor? And I was like, I was petrified. I was like, what is going to ask me to do? Because let's face, when somebody asks you like that, you're like, oh my God, you don't want to say no, but then you don't want to say yes and be in trouble. And I was like, look, I can help you, but keep in mind that today I'm at work all day and I have this and that. So if you're going to ask something that requires me to leave my work, then I'm not going to be able to do. Oh no, but can you help me? Maybe. I never gave an answer, yes, I can, because I was afraid of what he's going to ask and if that will take me away from my work, which I don't regret. But in the end, he only wanted a phone number for a florist to send flowers to his wife. They've been helping him a lot. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. In fact, I kind of gave you more than he asked for. But anyways, you see, it's a fear of do something for others because society is so difficult right now that we don't know what's going to come towards us. But when I look back the situation, I almost laughable about my reaction laughable in a bad way. I should be more mature and act better. But why? I was afraid of what my neighbor was going to ask. And if he asked me to do something that required me to leave my work, I could say, okay, let me see if I can do that. Or I could say, look, I'm so sorry, but really, I cannot do that for you. But let me find somebody else that might be able to help you. I should do better with the situation. And I only realized after it passed. So we do that. And I'm hoping by reflection on that, and the next time I'll be ready for do it better. So it's all just little situations that put us at test, isn't? And we need to do better. And finally, how about anger? To summarize, anger does not exclude certain qualities of the heart, but it stops us from doing anything good and may cause us to practice great evil. So, anger, what it is, we get angry, we lose sight. No matter how good person you are, how much good you do all the time, if you get angry, you might lose sight of what you're doing. It distracts you, it creates another path that is not good. So, it's really hard. It's one of those feelings that we have to control because that's what it's saying here. The soul, your spirit, is incarnating this earth with all the traits you bring. Your soul brings the anger, your soul brings the love, your soul brings all these little particles of feelings and traits. And you here, your job in this incarnation is to flourish the good ones and diminish the bad ones. So anger gets smaller, love gets bigger. And that you do through the practice of moral, of charity, of all the good things in life, or spreading love, giving yourself the best. And I know it's really hard. Not so much the anger, but the trust in others because we live in a planet of not everybody is good and some people are good but it's still going through anger and we might expose ourselves to do something good and in receive on the other end something bad, something that hurts us, so we are close ourselves because we are afraid of what might come from our actions. Even though we try to be good, we get something bad. And that's, I think, is the biggest for me, for the community where I live and what I see. I think that's the biggest problem for all of us because is the idea that you're going to help or you're going to do something good and you're going to get bad in return, to not say the worst. um so, but what can we do? Is like the case with my neighbor when he asked for a favor. I think we have to take the situation with a good heart and not expect anything in return. Anything can come from the whatever we say, whatever we do. But hopefully, by doing everything good, we also have divine protection. We also have good spirits around us. We also have all the stuff that help in our path and make us stronger against evil that comes our way. And to be honest, whatever is meant to be will be because we are in this life with certain things that have to happen for us to learn and grow. So might as well just take with a punch, and learn and move on and be grateful because all those problems that we have in our life are there for us to learn and grow. So yeah, I think I talked too much already. So let's finish this video today thanking saying thanks to God, to Jesus that gave us the greatest example. So let's say every time when we have a little problem, a little questioning on what to do, we look back at Jesus' example and receive it, and then as taking the example, we decide what we're going to do next. And also, let's go Thank all the good spirits and everybody that are with us and we don't see, and help us in our daily lives and help us to be away from dangers and any other things that should not be in our path. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye.